to think I bruise easy. I used to wear old scars like pain was in fashion. Just a bit of trivia, no I don't go digging. Never dip my finger in trouble, cause I've been a hard mess, and I prefer it like this. All my friends are tied to places, they've got love pouring out their faces, and I've got me, and hopefully you too. To know what I want, never gotten sick of someone, never tried so hard to not give up, never thought I'd stick around for, never be able to know what I want, never gotten sick of someone, never tried so hard to not give up, never thought I'd stick around for. Stick around for you. All my friends are tired of places, they've got love pouring out their faces, and I've got me, and hopefully you. All my troubled days are over, blown apart like supernova. If you've got room for me, make space for you, because I've only got me, and hopefully you too. If you've got room for me, you know I'll make space for you. If you've got room for me, yeah, you know I've got room for you and me and you and me.
Oh yes, guys. Welcome back to Bar Talk, right here on AMR or wherever you get your damn podcasts. It's coming to you with an absolutely phenomenal track right there called Bruises. It's not a damaging song. It's not a hurdy song. In fact, I felt goody after that. So goody two shoes. You can get those lamps out, rub them 3 times, and make as many wishes as you like. But in fact, I've got one wish for you guys. I'm going to rub my lamp now. Genie of the bottle. Yes, Daniel. I grant you 3 wishes. Oh, I only need one today, Genie. Why is that? Can you get Genie Boy on the podcast for me? Oh, you know I can. Oh, wow, look at it. It's Genie Boy all the way from the Gold Coast. Alicia and Scott.
How did we get here?
You're trapped now. You guys up for an interview?
Yes, sir.
But no.
Way to go home.
But no, I haven't coerced them via Wish. They did voluntarily come on.
Nevertheless, that was the best introduction we've ever had.
Yes, 10 points.
Thank you, guys. I love you to bits. But no, welcome to the show, guys. It's good to have you guys, Genie Boy. No, that is their actual name, guys. Genie Boy with me over the phone to chat about. I don't know, what are we going to chat about? Like your EP, bit of this and that, perhaps. Maybe have a bit of fun, eh?
Maybe earthquakes.
Don't steal my thunder. Or don't steal my shakes.
We have nothing to talk about earthquakes.
Yeah, you guys, Gold Coast, what do you guys got? Bloody beach, casinos.
Sunshine, damn that sunshine.
A bit of sunshine. Well, don't you guys have, like, I think I thought, I've been told the whole like Queensland, southeast Queensland has sunshine is a bit of a fraud, because I've been told that compared to a lot of other parts of the country, actually, you guys get a lot more rainy days than say it. So every town you go past, because you notice that every time you travel through a town, they go, has more sunny days than the Gold Coast. So it's like if half the country has more sunny days than the Gold Coast or the Sunshine Coast, maybe they shouldn't call it that.
Well, I guess we're almost tropical. So in summer, we get a shitload of rain.
Either a shitload of rain or a shitload of bushfires.
Yeah.
Either one of them.
Yeah, so I reckon whoever, so either you pay, the Gold Coast, Sunshine Coast PR guy is the smartest fucking bloke around. Or you guys are just frauding the rest of the country. Isn't that right?
We get all the tourists.
All the tourists. And they never leave satisfied.
So true.
I was told there wouldn't be any monsoon up here. It's right. You guys can bag the shit out of Melbourne whenever you feel like it in this interview, because I feel like if you're only giving and never receiving, it's never a good look.
I feel like Melbourne's received enough lately, hasn't it?
See,
Kick it while it's down.
I didn't ask for empathy right now. I asked for some fighting words. All right, guys. We're not here to joke around the weather. All right. I know as much as you can bag shit about the weather all day. That's not, this isn't the Weather Channel, guys. This isn't the Weather Talk podcast. It's the Bar Talk podcast, where we only interview the best independent artists. And I'm sure you guys have got a lot to say. Hopefully something, because you guys you've just released an EP, a few weeks ago called, would you believe, Have You Got Something to Say? First off, great EP. Love it. It's just, as I think I was saying before the interview, just your full-on guilt-free pop, just the full bubblegum, so to speak, which I think is funny because you've got the speech bubble thing going on in your album artwork, which I love.
Yeah.
But firstly, how are you feeling? Because it's been, normally when I interview artists, they're like a week out, a couple of days out from they've just released it. But you guys have had like a good month to wrap your head around things since the release date. What's it been? What's the roller coaster been like in those preceding weeks? Oh, and the after weeks, the aftershock as well.
It's been, I feel like it was such a long time ago now. last week we had our EP launch, our physical one on the Gold Coast, so local show. And that was probably the best celebration for us to really feel into the EP after releasing it and just kind of letting it go a bit, because we have a little bit of a team to help us release all the stuff. And yeah, it feels almost like we're ready to just write some new stuff now and move on. I
think as with most artists, the release process takes such a long time. You actually feel like you created the artwork.
Yeah.
Like last year, I guess we made it.
Yeah.
So it's definitely a huge relief to finally get it out there and people to actually hear it rather than just tell them it's coming all this time.
I know. Coming soon.
but no, it's serious, because this is such a common thing that gets brought up so often. It's that you are so over it once it's out. And not in a bad way. It means you're not resting on your laurels. But it really is like that, isn't it? Because people and again, I bring this up so often, so people, my regular listeners shouldn't be surprised. It takes so long to get the bloody thing out, doesn't it?
Yes.
Yeah.
You can't just wake up and go, I'm going to put an EP out and then just do it. It's like, as you guys obviously very well know, there is a bit of a process behind that. You were mentioning just before, Scott, about the team that you have behind you. Tell us a bit about that, because obviously if if you've got that really good team, you must be really eager to sort of sing their praises, I'm guessing, for want of a better term.
We definitely are keen to sing their praises, but I'm going to have to let Alicia take this one because she's the one that handles all that side of it.
Yeah, we have actually everyone on our team is called Michael. So anyone ever want to join?
That's a good point, actually. Thanks, Michael, for putting your effort in too, letting us know about these lovely artists as the awesome publicist.
He's the best.
So wait, are you being legit or are you just saying it's only Michael?
Oh, no, everyone, like we have a drummer who comes in for the live show. His name is Michael. Our marketing guy is also called Michael.
Oh, no.
Team of Michaels.
Yeah.
There's a joke in there. I'm trying to think of what reference it is, whether they walk into the room and everyone's named the same thing. But like, I think this is a joke that is just overused in so much different comedy. It's like, everyone's called Michael. Yeah, but that's great. Like that's surely a coincidence, or in the vetting process. In the interviewing process, you go, so okay, so it's like you see, it's like we've got a John here, nah, we've got a Daniel, nah, fuck off, Daniels. Michael, well, I like the sound of him. We'll think we'll keep him.
Round name. Yeah, so every process from now on will be you must at least have Mike in your name.
So, you guys should have just named your duo Michael and then
Michael Boys.
Michael Boys.
Michael Boys.
But yeah, I was going to say, I don't think, we don't, like, I don't know. Like, even here at the station, we have a Mick that does one of our other shows, but it doesn't go by Michael because Michael's just a bit too formal.
Is it short for Michael?
I don't even know. You know what? I haven't actually looked at his birth certificate. He just goes by Mick. I'm talking about, folks, the lovely Mick Moore from the Heavy Reborn podcast. Go and check it out if you haven't already. But he's a funny guy. He'd probably tell you to fuck off. He's like, I'm not. No, he's an awesome bloke, Mick. If you're listening, I love you. But in all seriousness, I'm sure the whole Michael thing, is it just literally just a happy accident? Is it?
Yeah, it is. Yes, a bit.
We've used a few different PR companies, but yeah, we're really happy with this one.
But in
Kick Push.
Oh yeah, Michael from Kick Push, great guy. But with it though, because it's not just, it's a bit of like everybody sort of putting together. It's really a team effort, I suppose, not just yourselves, but also your publicity and marketing, and also, as you were saying before, the people you get in to play on the record. What do you think wouldn't happen if it had just been a solely solo effort between the two of you and you hadn't got any other input from anyone else? What do you think these other people have added that you wouldn't have thought of otherwise?
Everything, like all the PR stuff. Yeah, I would never have enough energy or contacts to do that. Yeah, that's definitely why we hired it in. With
it though, when you're putting together, actually, let's talk about the EP, because the making of, because I always like digging deep into that sort of thing. Mm-hmm. With it, what was the aims with it when you set out? Like, was it pretty solid in terms of the idea of the record? Because when you listen to it, it's a very sort of solid, tight EP, but every song on there, like, there was no duds. It was all pure balls to the wall, fun, just fun pop music, Was that the intention when you had it moving in, or was there some completely different idea when you started? So
Alicia basically wrote most of those songs. The band didn't exist at the time. It wasn't actually a band. It was probably leaning towards like a solo EP of hers. This would have been last year, I guess. Yeah. And then we brought them into the studio and kind of just gave them a bit of a rebirth from being like a guitar-based singer-songwriter.
Yeah.
Even some of the like more acoustic kind of based to, bringing that pop element to them. But you probably notice like each song kind of has a bit of a different flavor as well. I think with anyone's first EP, it's a bit of a finding your sound and finding your own style.
Yeah, sort of fumbling around in the dark per se.
A little bit. Yeah.
Don't know what the fuck you're doing. But you say that though, Scott, but like, it was going to be guitar driven, but there was still, it wasn't totally devoid of the six string. There was still a bit of electric going on there.
Correct. Yeah. That, like, I am predominantly a guitar player, so I guess my writing always comes back to the guitar. And in the live show, I knew I'd be playing a lot of guitar, so it's definitely still a big part of it. Yeah. Just moving away from more like the acoustic sort of
singer-songwriter vibe,
rootsy stuff that
So was that essentially your idea, Alicia, originally to begin with? Because, you're talking about that whole solo artist thing. Was it going to be a lot more acoustic when you were putting together these songs and first thinking of the idea of putting out this EP?
Yeah, so the idea for the EP started when I was applying for a grant. And then that was like a RADF, Regional Arts Development Fund grant. And, with grants, you never really know what you're going to do until you write the grant. So then I wrote the grant and thought, okay, so I should still just try and do this project of releasing an EP. And me and Scott have been working together a lot. Like we'd been mixing some tracks that I had recorded myself. And we work so well together, and his production is so awesome, I think. And I just thought, it'd be so good to not just do it on my own anymore. Just getting a bit sick of being the solo artist and being the only one on the team, not only to do every part of every job, if you know what I mean. And it just even just to celebrate, it's so nice to have a team around you to celebrate with, on creating something. So that's when I was like, hey, you want to be a duo? And then it went from there with the production, getting in the studio. I
was going to say, were you guys pretty close before you decided to work together, or was it by accident, by chance, pretty soon beforehand?
Yeah, well, as Alicia said, we definitely worked together a fair bit.
Yeah.
Alicia had a handful of solo songs that she'd released prior to GENIIE BOY, which I'd generally still at least done the mixing for, and some of the kind of production stuff. Yeah. But I guess moving it to a duo was just kind of opening the door up to me actually contributing to the songwriting and production.
You're not just a piece of meat to be used and abused. Unlike that Michael and Michael. Actually, just say Michael, then they never know who who you're talking about, or that Michael. Keep them guessing, I say. But
poor Michaels.
But was it going to be originally just that you were going to only be just the producer, and Alicia was still going to be Alicia's solo EP, even after you decided to work together? Or was it pretty obvious, as soon as you worked together, it's nah, duo, definitely going to do the duo thing?
Yeah, I think when we decided on doing the EP and I'd written the songs, it was definitely let's make a duo. Yeah. And then you can really make the song, produce the songs how you want to do it. I really wanted to kind of let go of the reins in that area and just focus on the lyrics and the melodies and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And then it kind of trickled over into post-release as well, having the two of us work together. Scott does all the show production and musical direction and stuff like that. And then I do all the admin side. So it's just been so good to split it down the middle.
I was actually going to say that actually travels really nicely into what I was going to ask next, which is what I was going to say, the spheres that you two inhabit, and I guess the skills that each of you bring to the plate. But it sounds like, you've got a very different skill set, which is actually really useful for a group because it means you can combine it into something a bit greater.
It's so awesome. It's the first time it's worked for me this way. It's usually a good band.
There haven't been any disaster. We're gonna, the real earthquake has been you guys' personal lives. Obviously, no. That's why I'm so heartbroken in all these songs, Daniel. I'm not surprised. No, not to try and pry or anything. But it sounds like you've had a lot of experience in terms of learning curve and not necessarily having bad experiences with bad people, but knowing, who's going to be able to just gel with you and work. And it sounds like you guys are now in a position where you're very comfortable with each other. Does that sort of sum it up?
Definitely. As a live band too, we only have one extra member, which is our drummer, Michael, one of the Michaels. Not to say we won't expand that at some point, but it has been really nice keeping a nice tight unit. We all get along really well, and it's just so much easier to keep it all together.
Yeah. I was going to say, it's what's the choice with keeping things simple in terms of your live shows? What appeals to that rather than going for something maybe a bit more bombastic?
Well, I think we always knew that we wanted to include some electronic elements with the live show. So as most musicians will know, that generally means sorry.
Me do English well.
Me
It's
not
like
the speaker.
for context, guys.
Me
It's
make music.
it's Saturday. We'll say it's. We don't want to say what time it is. We can lie about the time. Say it's 8:30 in the morning.
Yeah, we had a gig last night. Yeah, it's big. Hard life.
Oh yeah, the old post stage wobbles. Yeah, I tell you what, I'm missing that shit right now, guys. I'm very jealous of you guys having the opportunity to still gig. But yeah, sorry, you were saying about the
I was just saying, yeah, including some electronic elements. So we play to the backing tracks live. Like we have click track running in our ears.
Mm-hmm.
So I guess that opens up a whole nother plane that you can play with in terms of sounds and and hence not the need to put together like a 6 or 7 piece band to try and recreate the stuff we make in the studio.
Yeah, no, that's fair enough because you're going on before about how you were always very much a guitar driven guy, Scott. So
yes,
have you had to sort of, I don't say swallow your own prejudices, musical prejudices, but back in your younger days, would have you been a bit more put offish by the whole idea of going electronic, quote unquote? Like, is that a bit of a case you look back and go, wow, I've really matured sonically?
Look how far I've come.
So what did you say, Scott?
I said, look how far I've come.
But like, let's go back, like how long have you been doing this sort of thing, Scott? Because beforehand you were saying you're the most senior of the two of you. So I mean, where like if you compare yourself to say when you started, like what did you say? What would you say do you most appreciate about where you are now compared to where you were when you started?
I think I never really put any effort into like behind the scenes of like releasing and building the business and the brand and all that. I was always just gung ho at making songs with the band and getting out there and playing them, but never really amounting to all that much, if you know what I mean.
Yeah. Yeah. Can you think of any sort of examples? Because it's been a while since I've asked this question, and it always gives a fascinating answer because every musician has one. Like those horror stories of like where you've fucked up so badly at something, musically, I mean, and you go, right, and it ends up being a really good learning curve. So I was going to say, have there been any specific horror stories that you're happy to divulge into that sort of go this, then you look back and go, this was really a really good turning point or a really good learning experience?
Oh, do you mean like specifically musically?
Well, I mean, you can expand that question if you want to, but I'm thinking musically because, like, I don't know, something happened, I did this and then it fucked up my live show, and I never do it again, like that sort of thing.
I'll have to have a bit of a think, but I mean, I could definitely say, like, as a lot of young bands, you think touring's going to be a lot easier and more glamorous than it is. Thinking like, hey, we're doing some really great shows in our local area. Let's go to another big city and try and do the same thing, and then realizing that nobody shows up and you've kind of just lost a lot of money.
Is that coming from the personal experience? Is it, Scott?
Oh, definitely, yeah. Like,
I was going to say, was there ever though a place that you did tour that you went to and you were just blown back by how supportive the locals were?
Yeah. I always found kind of touring regional places to be a bit more rewarding. Like capital cities could be quite tough. Like Sydney, for example, I've always found really tough to just sort of show up and put on a gig and try and get people there.
Yeah.
Like comparatively, we used to love playing out at a place called Maitland, just outside of Newcastle, just because it had this venue that was just super supported by local music lovers, and it didn't really matter who you were. If you were a band coming through, you'd have a full house to play to. So
I was going to say, I don't think I've ever heard anyone talk about Maitland as a place to go and play. Is the venue that you're talking about still around?
It has changed a little, and to be honest, I'm not too sure. It was called the Junkyard, or the Grand Junction Hotel. It was just a really common spot for people like travelling that whole East Coast. It was just, a great little gig.
It is like that because those sort of towns and small regional cities are the perfect size to have enough people to be passionate about music and show up regardless. Because it's just the place to be. And I feel like it's the lack, it sometimes seems to be the lack of choice because they go, because even larger towns, like the example I'm going to use is Bendigo, because that's the example I'm familiar with because I know people from there and I've been there and experienced the scene. But even a town of 100,000 people is going to only have a certain amount of people that are into certain types of music. So there'll usually only be one or two places. And they're always complaining about how small the scene is. But you tend to find because of that, it concentrates everyone in the one place. So everybody shows up. So I don't know whether it's that or whether it's the fact that there's less other types of entertainment or whether it's just, I don't know, whether there's other factors involved. But it always seems to be the place with those regional centres.
I think the avenues for promoting the gig are a bit more streamlined as well. Like, maybe there is just one radio station that scene kind of listens to, or there's one street press that everybody reads, or whatever it is.
Actually, that's something I hadn't thought about because then would be the same thing again. Yeah, there is one local paper, There's one. There might be a community radio station that everybody's going to listen to. Now, I don't know how many like sort of music centric radio stations that you guys can sort of be involved with up there at the Gold Coast, but down here in Melbourne, you have not only the two big citywide community stations, and I'm talking specifically of PBS and Triple R respectively, which are awesome, by the way, but every council's got their own local station, which is specific to that area. Then you've got like online broadcasters such as us, and there's a few of us floating around, as well as all these brilliant music publications. But you really are sport for choice. But when you get to these centres outside the capital cities, you're not wrong.
So I don't know. I guess that contributes to it.
Yeah, it's interesting to think about because it's not. It's different scenes. Like not necessarily worse than the other, but they function a bit differently, don't they? Yeah.
And the scenes overlap a bit more too. Like it's not strictly a roots scene, for example, or a pop scene. It's they all kind of intermingle a bit more.
Yeah.
In a smaller town. I mean,
What do you guys? Because you guys are pretty much comparatively speaking, locals up to that area. You've never moved there to get to the scene or what have you. You didn't decide that I just want a sun change or a rain change. If we're talking about the weather. But what keeps you in the Gold Coast as far as musicians are concerned? What do you really appreciate about your local scene up there?
Well, Alicia is actually fairly new to the Gold Coast. How long have you been here? 2 years? Yeah. I've been here my whole life.
I shouldn't generalise. I know. I shouldn't jump to conclusions. But that actually gives us a good comparison. So, Scott, you yourself being a Gold Coast native, so to speak.
Yes.
What is it that you really appreciate about it and keeps you where you are?
Look, I've definitely delved deep into the scene. Like I've played in a lot of different bands in a lot of different genres. So I feel like I've definitely got my roots in here. There's a great support. We recently just had the Gold Coast Music Awards, which is like a good example of all the genres kind of intermingling and everybody supporting each other, and the local press and even the local council being supported.
Yeah, I was going to say, I think I saw something the other day that said you guys got nominated for a Gold Coast award.
Yes, we were finalists for song release, yeah.
And Scotty won Musician of the Year.
So you went a bit muffled there. So what song? What were you nominated for?
So GENIIE BOY was nominated for finalist for Song of the Year.
Oh, nice. Which one?
Not a winner. Fool's Play.
Fool's Play. The one that we didn't play.
The one we didn't.
That's all right. Go and listen to the fucking EP later, guys.
Yeah.
You'd be a fool not to. But which is really cool, by the way. And then Alicia, you said something after that about Scott, and I didn't quite hear it.
Oh, yeah, he won Musician of the Year at the Gold Coast Music Awards.
Oh, Scott, cheeky. Well done.
Thank you.
But no, congratulations. That's really cool. So you got the Did you have a? Is it one of those awards? I don't know what the shape of the Gold Coast Music Award is, but is it one of those ones where they've shaped suspiciously like a drinking vessel, so you can go and celebrate with it afterwards? Is it one of those type awards?
Actually, you'll never guess what it is. It's made by a local artist, a sculptor.
Okay.
It's a Lego man with a skeleton head.
You could probably drink out of his eyeballs.
He's become the icon.
Okay, nice.
Of the award.
All right.
Yeah.
I mean, I like how they support local artists with that too.
Yeah, Dion Parker.
Nice. So you were saying before too about the council. So the Gold Coast Council, are they very involved with trying to push the arts at the moment?
Yeah, I'd say they've been great. We have a big venue called HOTA, which is called Home of the Arts. It was previously known as Gold Coast Arts Centre a few years back, but HOTA it's been amazing. Like not only the venue itself having so many opportunities and different size platforms for artists, but they even offered like a series of small grants for artists last year to deliver some sort of digital media or digital release. Yeah. So I think the council's been great.
That's good. And it's like it doesn't get brought up enough, I think, when we talk about it. But yeah, when you get a local government that really does appreciate and support local culture, it can really go a long way.
Yeah, there's quite a few kind of council supported festivals. Like we have Blues on Broadbeach, and a couple others like that. There's a country music one coming up called Groundwater.
They're huge.
Yeah, they're quite big. They're kind of like a takeover the town kind of.
Oh, country festivals always are, aren't they? Or the blues or country festivals are, because there's like a whole. They're like a crew of gypsies. They just rock up.
Yeah,
have a bit of fun and leave. Because I know, and I remember I was talking to a lady that I know down here that is involved with sort of a folk festival scene, and I don't think a lot of people realise there's like a whole chain of them, and they time them so they don't clash with each other, because literally the same mob will just travel around the country all year on what they literally call the festival circuit, which is like makes sense that it's called a circuit because they're literally going around the country just constantly on the road. And
definitely,
yeah, it'd be the same, I imagine, for the blues guys and then the country guys as well. But yeah, and every other sort of artistic endeavor that has a dedicated fan base or dedicated following. So it's interesting that like they take over the town for a bit, don't they?
Yeah, in a good way.
Oh, okay. We're comparing. Okay, so we're going to compare it to the base level schoolie mob. Is that the common, well, not common denominator, the base denominator? Is that everything? Is that where you work up from?
Yeah. Oh, better than schoolies.
Well, the blues on Broadbeach, it was a bit hectic. I think
to get a bit rowdy.
Yeah, they got they got Wolf Mother in to headline it. And I think that's the first year they ever got like a rock kind of young band.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, what? Haven't they always called Wolf Mother like the Australian Led Zeppelin? So it's like it's like blues. Like, look, to be honest, if they'd gone in and got the Wiggles in, it's like, well, that'd be a bit dodge for a blues festival. It's like when they induct rappers into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, and you're like, really?
Yeah.
It's like Wolf Mother, I can get. They're a blues rock band, quote. So I kind of get that, but yes, they're like. It's a bit of they're probably used to a rowdier scene per se. I get what you mean by that.
Yeah.
It got so intense that it was actually all seated until Wolf Mother came on, and everyone just kicked the seats aside and stood on. And then it got so crazy that they kept stopping Wolf Mother and getting them off stage every 3 songs and announcing over the speaker to calm down.
Yeah.
Oh, it's like what a load of killjoys.
Yeah.
It was pretty normal kind of rock and roll crowd behavior, but I suppose in the midst of a pandemic, they were just trying to keep a lid on it.
This was last year, was it?
This was
This year. Yeah.
earlier this year.
So I was wondering why the fuck they decided to have chairs on a main stage, but I kind of I get that makes a lot more sense. Are we talking like garden plastic chairs? Is that the kind of chair we're talking about?
Like cheap fold-up chairs,
Right.
quite light, and they were literally just being like hurled over the barricade.
See,
It was pretty wild.
I'm going to put the blame squarely on the organisers. Like, if you want to have a rock and roll gig and you're trying to get people to stay seated, have them bolted to the fucking ground.
I don't know what they were thinking.
I just like obviously there's no rock and rollers in the organisers tent.
Well, I mean, even if you look at the Byron Blues Fest, which didn't go ahead, it was going to be all seated as well.
See, at least they had the foresight to cancel the bloody thing. Like, I know it is a terrible shame that they've had to cancel twice in a row.
Yeah,
but they don't know what they've. Those who do not learn from history are doomed to repeat it. You know, to quote fucking was it Roosevelt or whatever? But it's exactly like that. If you guys learn from what's the name of the festival called? The one that you guys had with Wolf Mother?
that was Broad Beach Blues.
Broad Beach Blues. Guys, look up Broad Beach Blues Gate 2021.
Okay.
Something very similar happened down here, actually, at of all places, a darts competition a couple of years ago, where there was a riot over the game. This is in like some indoor sports stadium, and the way it was set up, they had plastic chairs because of the way the place was set up. And yeah, there was a riot, and they started chucking the chairs in one big pile in the middle. They had to cancel the game.
They were throwing darts at each other.
Darts.
Oh yeah, it's a wild sport, darts. Like, if your game is designed to be played in a pub, be prepared for some antics.
So you have to be drunk.
Yeah, I think that was the problem. They weren't serving alcohol. So, Scott, obviously you're very, very proud of your local scene, and which makes sense being a local. But Alicia, as you guys were saying before, you've only been in town for a couple of years. So what do you particularly like, and what has really attracted you to the Gold Coast scene over the last few years?
I would say the same about just all the events that happen and all the opportunities. There's a bunch of other free things that go on we didn't mention, that like for artists, and lots of opportunities to connect with artists. And then Scott also had the music studio down. So that's a big draw factor.
Right. I'm sure that was definitely the deciding factor, wasn't it? You're like, I could stay where I am and travel, or I could move in with the guy that has a studio in his house.
I would say that was why, but real.
I would say that was why, but no, that was actually the reason why, guys. Sorry.
And everyone's, like just even you being here for so long was a really great way to kind of meet a whole bunch of different musicians and artists as well. Love it. I mean, I came from the Sunshine Coast. I wasn't there for long either, but I was there for a couple of years, and that also has a really supportive scene up that council-wise, and there's a bunch of independent artists up there really making moves. So it's like a sister city.
Yeah, I mean, look, people always get the two confused down here. Gold, sun.
Yep.
Yeah.
Is there even any difference?
It'll be Melbourne soon. I think everyone's moving up here.
Maroochydore, But I was going to say, before I forget too, Scott, you were mentioning before, because I gave you a very good compliment about, or I thought it was a good compliment about how your hat and your outfit was very Jamiroquai-esque.
Oh, yes.
And then you were going on about how you actually make your own costumes.
Well, yeah, we made that one. We wanted to run with this theme of like opposites in some way or another. So we went with the spots and stripes.
Right.
And,
sorry, that wasn't an interruption. I was just like, oh, okay. There's actually something deeper going on here, you know?
Well, it's just a little bit of a symbol or representation of kind of two different backgrounds of music between Alicia and I, kind of coming together. So it was just like a little theme that we thought we'd run with. And yeah, we just decided to make some outfits to represent it. We basically do our own photos as well. So that photo is just us standing in our lounge room with a little button to take the photo.
and clearly the old you got some green screen thing going. So you throw up the old green sheet.
That's correct. Green sheet, an op shop suit, some house paint.
So hours. Oh my.
So are they? Because if you look here, you're wearing the polka dots, Scott, and Alicia, you zebraed up with your stripes. So they actually, did you guys paint on those patterns? Did you?
I painted on, or Alicia and I painted on the spots, but the stripes was.
I already owned those clothes for some reason.
Wow, I was going to say interesting fashion phase. Obviously,
I've never worn them together, but I was very impressed with.
Right. So, do you consider yourself a little bit of a fashionista? Do you, Alicia?
Oh no. Well, if you call uniform stripes fashion, yeah. Bit of Beetlejuice inspiration.
I was thinking more like very Paris in the 1960s. I don't know. I'm thinking like I reckon in 20 years, Alicia, if you play your cards right, you could go for the full Cruella de Vil vibe if you keep the whole stripe of things up. If you take up, I don't know if you want to take up, start smoking in a cigarette holder, You just start chain smoking for the next 20 years and you'll just get the right accent going, It's a little bit of crispiness in the esophagus. Like I know your vocal range will probably suffer, but I mean it's all for the art, isn't it? For the aesthetic.
Yeah.
And when rename, you got to get, just start, he'll start calling Scott. She'll start calling you Anita.
Who's Anita?
Although you could be Perdita, the Dalmatian with those spots.
Ah, yes, I can be the Dalmatian.
Oh yeah,
perfect.
Good memory.
Can you guys? 101 Dalmatians is my favorite classic Disney film. I grew up watching it.
You're a bigger 90s Disney fan than us.
That was from the 60s. Are you talking about the live action remake?
Yes.
We don't speak about that.
Oh, no, the cartoon, is that from the 60s?
Yeah. It was when old boy OG Walt was still alive.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Yeah. No, it is. Yeah, I mean, look, the remake was a bit of fun. Old Glenn Close.
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
Did a good old job. and then what's his face was one of the thugs. What's his name? House, trying to think. I can't remember his name. Fucking Blackadder. People are yelling at their speakers right now, trying to tell me his name.
I think I know who you're talking about.
You know who I'm talking about, don't you?
House, yeah.
You're not going to look him up. No, I was going to say you're not going to give me a name. I'm not going to even say his name. Just let the audience try and do their own convoluted Google search.
Oh,
is it Hugh Laurie?
I told you not to tell me his name. But yes, I'm referring to Hugh Laurie. Yes. But I want to briefly touch on, because I'm a bit conscious of time. We're going a bit longer than I said we would. But I do want to briefly touch on your gigs, because you guys, I'm assuming, have got some shows coming up. Yeah.
Yeah, we do have a couple. Yes.
This coming weekend we have the Caloundra Music Festival, which is on the Sunshine Coast, not the Gold Coast.
So we shouldn't bag out the Sunshine Coast too much then.
No.
So Caloundra, awesome. What kind of setup will be the trio of you up on that one?
Yep, trio with the drummer. Yeah, Calandra's a great festival. It normally does have a really great international kind of component to it, which it won't this year, unfortunately. But it kind of leans heavily into the soul and funk sort of scene.
Which is sort of where you can sort of scrape in with your style, you know? It's sort of just allow, like, your songs have just got enough funkiness to it that you can kind of get away with it.
Yeah.
Which is a bit cheeky.
I think also the guy who runs the festival is just so supportive of new acts coming through. I feel like every time I've made like a new band, he's always kind of, if I end up playing somewhere where he is like socializing, he'll invite you to play the festival. You just have to be in the right place at the right time, which is, you got this one actually.
Well, I was going to say, with you talking about having international artists usually, but it sort of makes me think actually it's not necessarily a bad thing because it gives more opportunities because we've got to get those spots filled by local artists. It's very similar to when, like this year when we had the Melbourne Comedy Festival, internationally renowned festival, usually has a lot of big names and they are usually the draw cards, which is all well and good. But I was talking to a few comics this year and they're going, oh yeah, fucking internationals. They're always taking away our tickets. But this year it was all local. It was all, you know, domestic comics. And to be honest, it was kind of refreshing to look at this, you know, what do you call it? The schedule or whatever. And it all Aussie, or the large majority are Aussie comedians or Aussie artists. So it's kind of refreshing when that, you know, it's like, you know, silver linings, so to speak.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely.
There's so much talent around.
It is just creeping through the cracks, isn't it? Plastic chairs and all.
We actually went to the Adelaide Fringe Fest this year for the first time.
Oh, okay.
That was also heaps of comics there, especially a lot from Melbourne, and again, just local stuff. Yeah.
Gives us an excuse to actually wander over that part of the world.
Yeah, exactly.
No, that's really cool. So Caloundra is going to be, well, I was going to say, is it next weekend, is it?
Yes.
All right. So actually, yeah, I was going to say, so next weekend, which will be this weekend as of release. So if you are in the Gold Coast or in that part of Queensland, do yourselves a favour and get down there, see some music.
Yeah.
Definitely. It's a great festival.
Now, we're going to be getting on to playing another song in a sec, aren't we? We're going to cheekily transition to another song of the EP. Now, this one we're going to play is actually the final song off the record, and one that you guys picked as something you particularly wanted to talk about. Now, I got the impression that there was a bit of vitriolity or vitriality. I don't know how you pronounce it.
I think it's just vitriol, isn't it?
Vitriol. A bit of vitriol. Yeah, I'm probably right. I make up words all the time. They sound like, Alicia, that your lyrics had a bit of vitriol going on there, and not to sound like a critic or anything, but there must be some passion and fire going on there to come up with something like that.
There was. It was actually not my story though. It was a story of a friend of mine from Lismore. She had a little music venue called Dusty Attic. Yeah, and like most music venues, I think the council always seems to make it so hard for you to start up, and so that's kind of her story.
I like the balance here. You like praise councils 1 minute, hang shit on the other. I feel like that keeps us nice and balanced. You know, with journalistic integrity, 100%.
Yeah.
Anyway, go on. There's this venue in Lismore. Yeah.
Yeah. So she just had a lot of trouble, like financially, and just no support, being the only kind of original music venue, bringing touring acts into town, and creating that scene. And she was just a bit let down by it. There was a bit of corruption in there with money, hence the name Dirty Money. And yeah, that's, in a very general sense, that's what the song's about. It's just her story.
I was going to say, is the venue still around, is it?
No.
Oh, no. Shame, because I was going to go, like, get down to Lismore when everything opens up again. But in all honesty, if you're in lockdown, guys, support your local music venues when they open up again, because they will be needing your patronage.
Oh, yeah.
And I would suggest ordering plenty of drinks. Be liberal with that wallet, guys. They need the money.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's kind of good that you got sort of a story to tell. Like, even though the venue's not open anymore, it's a story that can be repeated, I think, anywhere in the world, you know, because music venue, like good music venue managers and owners really get into it because they absolutely usually love the music and they want to try and create something special. So it's good to sort of bring that to light, I feel.
It's so, like, even just after organising our EP launch last weekend and being, like, taking the reins on that and having that amount of stress in organising one event, I just couldn't imagine owning a venue and doing that multiple times a week, especially now in COVID. We played at a venue recently, like for the EP launch that our friends own, and we know that they've got kids, they've got every kind of liability that like relies on them making money, and it's just like, wow, we take our hats off to these guys really persisting and keeping the scene alive.
There's a lot of venues I noticed that are doing reno while in lockdown because they can't do anything else and they would normally not have the time to. I'm a bit worried because all these venues, their character comes out of the fact they're like grimy, sort of gritty rock and roll venues. I'm kind of worried they're going to go back after lockdown. They're all going to be bit too spick and span and be like, oh, that mold on the wall was part of the character of this place. It's like now the floor's not sticky. It doesn't feel the same. I remember walking in, it wasn't a music venue, but it's like a bar that you usually rock up at night, late at night, and it was always popular with the backpackers. I remember after the first lockdown, I went back for a couple of late night drinks just by myself. It was one of those bars you could just rock up by yourself and start chatting to some really interesting people. And it just wasn't the same because it was all these, I realized, and it was obvious, it was the international people that made it. So, it's going to be interesting coming out and seeing what, you know, behaviorally has changed and, you know, whether, you know, the same things that we love are still going to be there. Not to put everyone in a downer. But in all honesty, guys, it's been a lot of fun having this old chit chat with you guys and getting into the nitty gritty of your EP and the sordid details of your past lives.
You too, Dan.
Oh, thank you. Yes, I was ranting for a good half an hour before we started the interview. So to get it out of my system so I could let you guys speak.
Very informative. Education.
But we are going to play the song in a short moment. But I just want to say, guys, thank you again for coming on.
Thank you for having us.
Make sure you go and give a good old stream to the EP. Yeah, if you haven't already yet, it's out now. It's If You Have Something to Say. And I'd say if you've got nothing to do, go and do them a favor and give them a like. And if you're up in Queensland, go to one of their shows and throw a chair at them.
Queensland way.
The Queensland way. I love it. I love us. Well, take us out on the Queensland way and tell us who you guys are and what we're about to listen to.
This is Dirty Money from our EP.
And who are you guys? Because I've got dementia.
Oh, my goodness. We are GENIIE BOY.
Here's a song, guys. Dirty Money.
Maybe we're not the same. We feel what you do. Baby, we don't wanna play your games. Maybe we're not the same. We feel what you do. Baby, we don't wanna play your games. Dirty money. Fall fresh, honey. Do you think it's funny? I've got all the things I stand for here on the line. All I need to know is right here under my nose. And falling out of your mouth, why do I let this happen? Maybe we're not the same. We feel what you do. Maybe we don't wanna play your games. Maybe we're not the same. We feel what you do. Maybe we don't wanna play
AustralianMusiciansRadio.com.